Okay. Hi, sorry, that probably took like 45 seconds longer because I forgot I needed a timer, and I was just talking to Rifkin how my phone literally just died. Like, not that it ran out of batteries because I'm a dummy and didn't recharge it, but because it's been acting up all weekend, and it finally just gave up hope forever. It's dead.
Feels bad, man.
But that's okay, because I got a new phone. Maybe that it knew, you know? Right?
Hey,
It's like that
Zombie,
ex-girlfriend that's just prepping for, you know, your death. What?
hey, Zombie, where'd you happen to get that new phone from?
I got it from the Ting website. Well, I didn't.
Oh
But...
my gosh. Would that have been through bttv.ting.com? I know it wasn't, but pretend it was.
Okay. Yeah, totally.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
That's
God.
right, guys. As it turns out, that's a link that still works. And if you'd like to get $25 in credit, well, I do this sarcastically, but like, in all
It's so
seriousness,
awkward because I didn't.
I know she got it from Ting, but I guess this is a time to just note, not even like advertise or sell anything, but the bttv.ting.com link is there forever. It's not actually going to go away. So even though we're not doing Ting anymore and all that stuff, you guys can still claim that $25 in credit. So if you want like a phone for 25 bucks off and stuff like that, you should definitely check it out.
Yes.
I mentioned this mostly because we actually had a guy come by the stream yesterday whose girlfriend, I guess, got him a Yord watch as a gift, which was really nice. But he sent a donation message, something along the lines of like, she was a dummy and didn't know you could save money if she did it through BaseTradeTV. So just that kind of bleak reminder to people that we got a lot of really cool, awesome sponsors who it's nicks and knacks, really. I mean, wood watches, phones, things that you're not gonna need in your life, like food, but yeah, save money where you can.
Yeah, for sure. So as difficult as it was to act along with it, it was really cool. I mean, I actually did go there to check what they had on their website because I was offered anything on their website. But also, I'm on Ting. That's why I got the phone. So I'll be able to tell you guys what it's like, what the experience is like. I signed up for the thing. I'm actually pretty excited to use it. I don't know quite how to connect the phone to it. I'm sure it'll be easy enough, but they have like really, you know, we'd have those Ting commercials and stuff. They have these tools that make it really easy to see what, you know, how much data you're using and, you know, how much you spent for the month and stuff. So
Yeah, by the way, I just want to point out, this is like far past sponsored talk. They actually have some legit cool stuff.
yeah, I'm not trying to sell you guys on it. I just thought like I was interested in Ting back when Total Biscuit first did what did they do with them?
Shoutcraft.
It was Shoutcraft, yeah, and then Nate did a 2v2. That's right, yeah, exactly. So
Yo, I want to almost we cast that TV2. I want to rebroadcast that because I've still got that video file from like last year.
yeah, that would have been nice setup if a memory was here. Then we'd be like, hey guys, you just watched a memory from like 2 years ago.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. That's why
Yeah.
we first we're like, wait a minute, who's this like unknown Korean kid?
Yeah, him and I can't remember who his buddy was.
There's a Terran. Yeah, I don't remember his name off the top of my head. I'd recognize it
Right?
if I saw it.
Right, exactly. He's one of those up-and-comers, too, that just kind of fell off, unfortunately. Unlike NaTuRal, who he did fall off for a time, is coming back again to remind us that there are up-and-coming Terran players, or not Terran players, well, also Terran players, Korean players that are still interested in, I guess, finally having their breakout performance. That's what the Olimoleague was partially about, I guess, but we'll do the whole spiel in a second. In the bottom right, as the red Protoss, he is Billowy.
And his opponent spawning bottom left side. He just won that first series today, so we know he's warmed up. It's the blue Terran NaTuRal.
Yeah.
But now NaTuRal has got a really tough matchup here. Let's talk about the reasons why, right? Number one, it's Protoss versus Terran. Whether you like Adepts or not, the reality is they make this matchup a little bit of a pain for people who are not quite quick on the draw, not preemptively defending. Warp Prisms, regular attacks, it sucks sometimes. Furthered by the fact that Billowy is a player who has got one of the weirdest like resumes to look at when it comes to like Korean StarCraft. He has been on every pro team at some point in his career, likely just as a B team practice member type thing, but he has been on every team. He's a good enough player that he's beaten Beyond. Beyond is like the gold standard for like what you hope to achieve as a Gosu player in StarCraft, right? And this guy beats that. So this is going to be the toughest game for NaTuRal, I feel, much less the series.
Yeah. What's really frustrating for a lot of Terrans, I guess, because it's not so much like it's all Terrans forever have like a 30% win record versus Protoss. It's not that bad. But for a lot of Wargamer Protoss, when they complain, it's not just because of Adepts anymore. You know, back in Legacy of the Void Beta, Adepts were the answer to every, like, you know, what do you have problems with? What do you hate? It was always Adepts. And while Adepts are still annoying, and Warp Prism attacks, and Warp Prism, you know, backstabs, can all just end games, you know, really, sometimes lamely, especially as we're casting Billowy, this Colossus comeback is really throwing off, especially in the Korean scene, throwing off a lot of Terrans, you know? Like, initially the game is played out like you see anyone without Colossus, you know, have we seen it for the last however many months? And then Colossus will come out, and while they had their, like, month where they were this response to Liberators, we've been seeing more uses of, like, old-school Colossus all-ins, trying to attack with 2 to maybe even 4 Colossus before they're ready to go, attacking into their NaTuRal. I think Billowy literally did that versus Keen, like, last week or something like that. And it's not that Terrans have entirely forgotten how to deal with Colossus, it's just the Adept add-on, so I guess it goes back to Adepts eventually, makes it a lot more complicated.
It's not only that, but it's further by the fact that you can't really just go Vikings the way you used to. This is kind of one of those things that makes me creegasm at the proposed changes David Kim has posted, like with the Vikings having better ground. Because right now, if you go Vikings versus Colossus, cool, you took out the Colossus, and now you've got a lot of wasted supply you can't afford to waste versus Adepts and Stalkers and other things. So yeah. It's something where the dynamic there for the Liberators is still going to work if you have enough and if you're that late into the game. But the problem we've been seeing is the timing doesn't seem to complement that. Like, one Liberator will not counter one Colossus with an army the way you would hope it would.
Yeah, yeah. So, while the damage reduction and what was originally a length reduction too on the Colossus was maybe initially like an over-nerf, I think it's actually really important that they were nerfed at least a little bit, because the style is coming back with a vengeance. And a lot has to do with the Adept fodder opener, and just, yeah, Vikings just, I mean, they were never very good, to be honest, you know, just Corruptors were never very good, but yeah, there was something at least. But that might even get that far, you know. I'm bringing up these Colossus online as if it's done every single game. It's not, but it is something that's coming back that they'll always be worried about, almost like worrying about Adept all-in every, you know, once every best of 3, something like that. There's so many other options for Protoss, you know, Adept all-in, Adept Warp Prism Harassment, Blink Stalker contains have been a pain for some Terrans too, just getting 3 gateways but kind of containing on the front can really freak a Terran player out. And of course, any other variety of macro openers from Protoss. Billowy is going, you know, middle of the road. He's got to defend against a Wood Mine drop, although no Wood Mines, so just a Marine drop. But as if there was a Wood Mine opener.
This is out of vision, though. I mean, that's awkward to consider, but like the fact that there's no vision on that drop lets him fully unload. You could have just walked up the ramp, but unfortunately, with Stalkers prepared in that mineral line, this will drive them off. Yeah,
this was pretty perfectly split. There's enough pylons in the main base if there was an attack there, and then there's enough Stalkers that especially without a Wood Mine, but even with a Wood Mine, there's an Observer, there would not have been much damage done. So that kind of sucks. And you know, a faster third base against a Wood Mine drop or just a 1 medevac drop is totally viable. It's like the thing you should probably be doing. It should never be canceled.
Solid defense with that Adept buying a bit of time. Stalkers warp in, and of course other ones could come over, but he's scared to bring his army because there could be that Wood Mine drop. There could be a little more behind it, and there exactly was, so he's very smart not to have taken the Stalkers away. Distraction
no.
So good. Wood Mine though still gets 8 probe kills.
That was Billowy freaking out the last second. He should have realized the second Wood Mine was going to get a shot off and pre-pulled with the first Wood Mine dying. He definitely messed that up. But
so,
to his...
call that attack?
What?
Justified.
Hey. To his credit, I mean, I think he thought his defense was perfect because he had so many Blink Stalkers and just, you know, kind of got almost lazy, I want to say.
Like, he really did it correctly. He positioned well. He didn't overreact, seeing that drop to the third. Even now, trying to chase that medevac, it does suck that he took that hit. Now, luckily, with 3 Nexus and Chrono Boost on all of them, it's not hard to replace probes, so he's not so much worse for wear. His bank actually looks pretty fantastic. You got to consider Billowy doesn't actually have that much army on the field. Had NaTuRal been going for a dedicated like 2-base all-in, this could actually be a very different game. But right now, the unfortunate thing is Billowy is getting away with it. So that Robo's going to finish up in a second. He's got upgrades. He's not had to spend money on an army. So his Nexus is just going to get saturated so quickly at this third.
It is, but I mean, for the initial attack doing absolutely nothing, it seems that NaTuRal has had some very good macro behind it. Now, Billowy saw the additional 2 racks only coming down, or 3 racks, in fact, just coming down, so he knew there's a 3rd CC without scouting it. Now, of course, he'll scout it. But there should have been a tank. It just moved. Unfortunate. Aww.
Oh, man. 71 out of 71. That's something I just can't abide by, man. That
Yeah.
needs to say 70.99, and I would be okay with that. This is 71 out of 71 is so much else inducing.
It is. But to continue my point, oh, observer, please no. NaTuRal has this really good army, and if you can get tanks in decent position, that's fantastic. But the problem is that while he's up 20 army supply, and he might even have this nice upgrade advantage, potentially, with +1 armor, Billowy is on his way to those Colossus that I talked about earlier, already has 1. Gonna have a 2nd one, definitely, by the time the push arrives. And maybe even a 3rd by the time NaTuRal really feels confident forcing the issue. And still a good amount of adept fodder. And I do believe they have their upgrade, arrows and englaves. So that's where things get tricky. Tanks aren't really the greatest in this matchup. If they have an established abusive position, then of course they can take a lot of fire down on those stalkers. They can try and focus fire the Colossus too, but not exactly the answer for it. And it's going to be a little worrying. NaTuRal actually rushes in here. 2nd Colossus is not here. It's on its way. It's walking over, but it doesn't even need it. Oh, that was a bit bold of a blink in. Didn't realize there was other 2 tanks, but it doesn't matter. Still pushing. I really think Billowy's getting a little too bold, though. Yeah, not just because the tanks are being hopped onto ledges, which means that his army is just taking unnecessary damage, but because NaTuRal had an army to back up to. It was a little scary.
Good old Tal'Darim Colossus.
Yeah, nice little skin.
It's not so special for us though, because we cast the whole event with them.
Yeah, right. This is the point where I really feel either NaTuRal super impresses us, or I just get to talk about how this style that Billowy's doing is tripping up a lot of Terrans.
Yeah, I mean, what's cool about this though, I'm not trying to take any credit away from Billowy, and I'm not trying to like compare apples and oranges or anything like that, but we really saw this first actually hit with the Europeans. People like Mana and even Night End, like they didn't have refined builds, and it was honestly a sloppy from some, but it was cool seeing Colossus first over there and then see it come back to Korea. Well, I don't think the dynamic is like Protoss Koreans versus like Protoss foreigners is the same as Zerg. It's still interesting to see this eventually come into fruition in a much more refined way.
Yeah, it is one of those things that Europeans usually, or not Europeans, foreigners in general, North Americans too, try things differently first, and then Koreans end up perfecting them. But whereas, like, Night End, for instance, made them look like they were specifically a counter or a response to Liberators, Billowy and other Korean Protoss are just making them look like they were in Heart of the Swarm, which is just splash that you would eventually get no matter what, and then have a lot of fodder on the ground for them. I mean, this is like the frustrating part. We just saw NaTuRal take a really terrible fight. He was like instantly pushed back. Is that this is the point where it's like, oh, is like a death ball coming back in a Legacy of the Void? I mean, that's one thing Legacy of the Void is definitely fixed, is that there's no more 8 Colossus, bajillion storms, and just like good luck trying to micro against that. That's been gone for quite some time, but Colossus making their way back in, making that feel like once they get to a certain number, you just can't do very much. It can be frustrating for Terrans, who especially already didn't like this matchup. But a nice drop into the main base cancels a lot of those adepts, so continues the rampage here. Not gonna be able to cancel these. Yeah, so has to pick up. Unfortunately, lost a medevac already. But might get the 4th base. No, he didn't target fire it. Well, maybe. Target fire is now.
It's gonna cost him the army though. Is that really worth it?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think if he immediately target fired, maybe he gets out with like a medevac, but it was always going to be questionable. At least he got the 4th base. Like, I didn't survive like 1 health, something like that. But these 2 medevac drops live 2. We do have Templar Archers being finished up, so defensive feedbacks could be placed around the bases. And eventually they'll get stormed for the emergency backup. There it starts now. We're gonna have pretty good upgrades for both parties. In fact, pretty damn even. Is it 3-2 versus 2-2? Okay, so Billowy still has the lead.
Just a side note, going up Twitch chat here saying my mic sounds really good. Do you have me turned down on Skype or anything like that?
I don't. It's actually been very odd, but this has happened before, right? Where you just to me, would randomly change in volume, especially if there's like a lot going on in the game. So, you might try calling me. I don't know why you guys make me call you guys.
I'm wondering if there's an auto adjust of some variety.
There's
where...
not. That's something we already checked. Like the take control. Yeah, it's not happening.
Okay, well, let's leave it as is for the time being. That upgrade difference is going to be kind of huge. 3-2 plus Storms is going to be a lot of damage available for Billowy, but Natural's army doesn't come in small amounts. He's actually got a really nice army supply coming forward, but it is still this problem where the types of supply here are very different. Vikings to take on the Colossus, let's assume they actually take them out, which they won't be. It won't take, or they will. It won't be fast is the problem.
Storm's gonna come in. Storms coming in. There we go. They had the energy.
No.
And that's what that looks like. I mean, there's still a Liberator here. Should be target fired. There we go. The Colossus all go down, but a lot of Adepts still on the ground. Means that Billowy has held.
Actually, Natural did something kind of cool there with the Widow Ones, and I'm not sure if that was on purpose or just an awesome coincidence, but it set them up so as you retreated, that's when they came into play, so they didn't get picked off on the front lines, they didn't get burned by the Observer. Unfortunately, though, as good of a fight, and I want to stress that was a good fight to remove the Colossus, he's still producing more Vikings behind this. So this is something where I almost wish this wasn't anything else, like whether it's Ghosts, whether it's more Marines or Marauders, like the Colossus count isn't up on 4, it's going to be barely on 1, and having 7 Vikings in the sky won't do him any favors.
No. But he recognized that. I mean, he's not rebuilding a ton of Vikings. Having 4, probably not going to be bad if you assume they are going to try and remake the Colossus, but more importantly, getting that bio back up. Now, I really think Billowy could have taken a better fight. His Storms were late for whatever reason. Maybe he didn't realize he had the energy, or maybe he just didn't want them to be sniped, but there was no Ghosts in play, so that wasn't even the case. And the next fight might go better, might go worse, because we do have Ghosts now, and EMPs could come down. And less so about the Storms, which are always going to be scary, but the Adepts. The Adept fodder in front of the Colossus is what makes it usually so different, and if those are EMP'd, they really don't provide that same defense. He's actually too bold over here, so he's going to retreat back to those Storms. Being very conservative with them. Scans go down to see exactly what the economic situation looks like for Billowy, which is pretty even with Naturals. Excuse me. I guess still not rolling in the dough. There's only 1 Ghost on the way.
I gotta give a good thumbs up to Natural, though. Like, he's actually fought this game out really well. He's brought us up to 3-3 in Ghosts. I frankly thought he'd be dead by now, but he has played this out really well. Billowy, again, like, no matter how good he plays, he won't get compliments because we expect it out of him.
Yeah, a little unfortunate for him. Yeah, I'm impressed with Natural too, but I've been impressed for a while. He's had these, like, you know, basically genius moments occasionally, especially in PvT against some very established Olimoleague players. I'm glad he gets to show his stuff in TVP. There is a single Ghost, as I said, and it could get some pretty one important EMP, but everything's pretty spread out. It actually EMPs probably the least important things, which is like Stalker and a Colossus, but...
Feels bad, man. Drop that third while this goes on. Storm going to try and take care of it, but those... actually, the Marauders will still live, maybe, but the Marines, unfortunately, don't have a lot of health, so it has to pick up, and 10 worker kills is not bad, but at this point in the game, I'm not sure how much focus is going to those workers. Less workers means more army. Billowy had such a good army for such a long time. Like, recall that fight over here. Oh, as more probes go down. I'm surprised he didn't transfer over into something... I mean, he got Storm and he got Charge lots. Like, he was advancing his tech. It wasn't like he was stalled out, but... You know, Tempest never came out when he realized the Liberator's getting high. I'm thinking more like Warp Prism harassment never came out. Like, that's something that's certainly missing in TVP. I wonder if that's an aspect that has to do with the map, though. I mean, you get that derpy island blockers. It's kind of hard to control the Warp Prism. I'm not saying that's an excuse, but that might be a reason for why we don't have the emphasis on it.
The Adepts Warp-ins are hell, DT Warp-ins. He's never Dark Shrine.
Oh, does he? He still doesn't have Liberator range. I just realized that's kind of a huge deal, especially when it comes to trying to stay out of range of the Storms, making Blinks feel more pressured and whatnot.
I guess he would rather have 4 Liberators at a time than 2 with... I don't know, because it's not just 4 Liberators, it's like 2 Medevacs, 2 Liberators, 2 Vikings, 2 Medevacs. He does have a lot of reliance on his starport. But that could help. I mean, that's an quite an extended range, but we're going to have the attack go in. 1 Colossus just standing around, though. Hey, buddy.
Oh
Okay,
man,
bye.
this is where you wish you have to, but Billowy I think is gonna take a
he's
really
dead,
bad
yeah.
fight here. The Liberators kill all the stalkers. There's no more anti-air. There's a literal line drawn now where he cannot cross.
Yeah, I think he's just dead. He's down about 60 army supply. There's emergency DTs. If there was an attack going on the main base, he probably buys enough time to use this base that's still mining, unbelievably, with so many Liberators around. But that's not the
storm
case.
is so low, by the way. Like, seriously, 1 or 2 storms can destroy so much. I love the Stalker weapon from the north side. It's around the Liberators. Still a lot of them in play, but as the Stalkers get these pickoffs, these Liberators don't have a lot of health. They go down really quick.
Yeah. I'm still trying to use this micro, take out the Liberators around, but yeah, you realize it's way too far gone. NaTuRal takes it.
I did not expect that to be a Game 1 win for NaTuRal. If he wins the series, it's going to blow me away further, but if he wins the series 2-0, I just won't believe it. I won't believe it. I'll refuse. I'll ask Olivia to look into the replays for cheats. I don't know. Like, Jesus, that was a good game out of NaTuRal.
It was. I mean, we give a lot of credit to Billowy, give a lot of credit to the Colossus play that he was using, and he did initially showcase how strong it can be with a couple of those first attacks. But there's always been, in the history of StarCraft 2, people who have their matchups, and even when TVP was massively in favor of one or the other, there's people that still made it work. And maybe this is NaTuRal's best matchup. For whatever reason, he just gets it. Or maybe he just likes New Gettysburg, I don't know.
We've seen a lot of players who go through those phases too. What Samgrip just said there isn't just for the sake of saying it. Like, there are some players who will just be these savants at one particular matchup, and they're just terrible at the others in comparison. But yeah, I don't imagine for NaTuRal that's going to be the case. He might be good, but I don't think it'll be at the cost of anything.
NaTuRal's played a lot of other races on this account. Anyway, I just checked his statistics. He's by far the worst with Zerg. The next map's going to be Frost.
Well, I mean, he is in Korea.
Hey, I get it. His best matchup is against Zerg, and then Terran, and then Protoss is his worst at 67%, but I don't think this is one that he's his main ladder account. Named accounts usually aren't for Koreans. So don't look too much into that.
Yeah, notice that guy's Billowy is playing on a barcode with clan tag Billowy as an example.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so Frost is in the map pool. And I did so much walking in Montreal.
Yeah, so I was reading those tweets. You guys had like some food court nearby, but nobody knew about it for the last day or something.
There's just like prime examples of what happens in esports. Okay, so we're pretty good at it. Like, we'll all agree that we're tired and go someplace close, or we'll just look ahead or something. People tried at the events, but it was just like to the extremes of first you had to collect everyone, and then you didn't know if you wanted to go someplace close or someplace that you all agreed would be really fun to go to, like a sushi bar or a Korean place or something like that. And then you got a little lost because only a couple people were from the area, or if they were from the area, then they kind of would argue over which one to go to. And then 10-minute walk was actually like a 20-minute walk uphill. Like, there's so many things combined. We tried to go to Meltdown, and we ended up not going to dinner until midnight. So we didn't get to Meltdown until 2 a.m. because it took so fucking long.
So by the way, this is one of those moments where I think you don't realize how much you miss Rifkin, where it's like, if there's one guy who's going to find a food place that's nearby, that's not going to take him out, and tell everyone else, no, shut up with your bickering, let's just go here, I would be that guy.
I mean, it was funny. Like, Poke Bunny was trying to be that guy, but a bunch of people wanted to go to their hotel first, to drop off stuff or pick up people. And instead of taking like 20 minutes, it took an hour because people would come down, other people would have left, and then like other people would leave, and other people would come down, and no one was ready to go all at the same time. Just big group dynamics, I suppose. So, the point is, I did a lot of walking. I have this huge blister on my foot. It's really gross.
Oh, sexy.
I know. Thank you.
Yummy.
And you. And I'm like in pretty good shape. Like, I was running before, jogging, whatever, I lift weights and stuff. And for whatever reason, probably because I wasn't drinking enough, I just have like hacking coughs. Like, my lungs felt so dry. It was not great. And kind of the same thing's happening here, and I imagine that's more because there was a lot of dancing at the after party and a lot of singing while dancing.
I gotta feel bad, man. Sorry for you, but let's get these intros done first. Kicking it off here on the top left side of game number 2. He's actually the one behind in the series. It's gonna be the blue Protoss, Billowy.
In the bottom right, as the teal Terran, he is NaTuRal. Before you tell me that feels bad, why don't you try calling me?
Okay.
No. I realize I usually call them because I'm usually not the one streaming, but why isn't the reverse? Guys, please. Okay, expect.
I don't know that
Hi.
the call host is gonna help or not. Just
Well, I mean, there's a reason that you make me call, right? Just
that's
that little
just
bit
because. Well, internet. I'm like maxed out when streaming, so every
Yeah,
little bit
exactly.
helps.
And I'm streaming now, so I've always wondered why you guys make me call you guys when I'm the one streaming.
Anyways, so the Feels Bad Man story goes as follows. Like, first off, broke both my arms. Everyone knows this. Stuck in, unable to move, lying down for like 2 weeks. Okay, cool. Everyone knows that. The thing that you might not know that I've talked about to a couple people is I lost a lot of weight during this. And at first I was really happy. I'm like, cool, I'm down like 9 pounds after 2 weeks. That's insane. Then I quickly realized like it was all muscle mass that I'd been building up, like biking and walking every day. And so while my shoulder's still sore, I'm trying to get back into at least walking. I can't even walk like a third of the distance I used to be able to right now. It really sucks.
Yeah.
I went out for a walk and I was like, a little bit because of the pain in my shoulder, but a lot because I was just exhausted. Like oh jeez.
That sounds about right. I think
Feels
it's like
bad, man.
it's not like these last what has been 3 weeks have like deteriorated your body to like terrible mode, but just because your body is still recovering and stuff, like just calm down, take it easy, broski.
Yeah.
But yeah, that sucks. Anyways, the game's going on. NaTuRal did not scout with an SCV, so his Reaper took a bit of time to get to the base, and that's why an Adept is already ready to go, and he's not going to have the easiest time getting a scout. He shouldn't get any probes at this point, that's for sure. Could still suicide scout, worst case scenario, if he really wants to know what's going on. But NaTuRal is going for a kind of middle of the road build, so not a 1-1-1, but not like 3 racks, a lot of units either. And I'll have fast enough drops, I suppose, that's enough medevacs. But that Reaper still, needs to get the scout on. Not just this is like an okay first scout, but in about a minute or two. It's secondary scout. God, like, talking about not being able to, like, use my lung capacity has made my lungs feel even worse.
Nice.
I really thought I'd be so sore from all the dancing. Like, seriously, there's like 6 hours of dancing. The after party was so long. I thought I'd be, like, super sore in, like, my thighs or something, but no, it's from singing and dancing. I didn't realize how often that occurred, because no one could hear each other, so you just were being as stupid as possible. It was great. But also thanks to Hardy Marty, we got to that resub, but 25 months, a long time.
Hardy Marty.
That Reaper got an okay secondary scouts. You know, there could have potentially been like 4 more gateways in the back here, but this is a pretty typical TVP opener, so shouldn't be feeling too much pressure. And it is going to be Blink, once again, from Billowy as the first tech choice.
Blink on Frostwall maps is probably a lot more viable than first off New Gettysburg, but secondly, just for somebody who is going to know that at some point in the game there's going to be Vikings, at some point in the game there's going to be those Liberators, Blink is a really essential tool. To go for it quickly like this, though, over Resonating Glaives, I'm not convinced about. Again, maybe Billowy just feels guilty and is like, you know what, I don't want to be that guy who just wins with Adepts. I don't know, but we saw almost no real Adept attack or use out of him last game. It looks like that's not going to be the case again in this game, and I'm really curious what his mindset is to put him in that situation, because forget the stigma and the jokes, like, the reality is Adepts are actually good units, and they're great when they get those Resonating Glaives attached to them with upgrades, so why not go for these harass tactics? Why go for Blink as a more brute force head-on tactic instead?
I think that the Adepts are more brute force. I'm surprised you put it like that.
I guess I'm thinking more around like the idea of getting past an army rather than fighting head on like this.
Okay, yeah, that way I can understand. So definitely agree on that point. But for Stalkers, I think the control it gives you and the I want to say the skill cap's better, actually, because some people are really good at Adept Harass, and some people just
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of willy-nilly.
Like, the ability to cancel is just as good as Blink Micro. It's less
Yeah.
obvious and less apparent, but it's just as important.
Yeah. But like, you can, if you do this, especially in a more aggressive way, which Billowy did not do, you know, he's taking a fight in the middle of the map, and he's taking it pretty well, in fact, with the Blink Soccer Micro. You can actually contain a Terran. You can keep them off of third base, like we see here. NaTuRal actually tries to pick up, and his third base is on location. Really would not have expected that to be canceled. And luckily, Billowy is going to back off. He's probably like, okay, this is too easy. Where are the other two medevacs, you know, going into my base right now? And the answer is there is not really. There's a Liberator. There was another medevac that probably got, I want to say F2'd. I don't know why it's going back home, but that was a little scary for NaTuRal. He didn't do the pressure that he wanted. He got like a couple of stalkers, but third base is saturated. Resinglaze is on the way. Billowy feels so confident after that. He goes for a double forge too, which the Liberator will see.
By the way, has me calling changed anything, or is it still the same?
It's better.
Oh,
It
okay,
hasn't
cool.
gone down or weird or anything.
But yet with an asterisk.
Yeah, exactly. Anywho, the drop finally commences. This is the what am I drop? I guess it like picked up like another Marine. And finally commenced. Oh god.
It's okay,
Billowy.
well, that was it was a beautiful display of lights.
It's like that was that one probe that dicks over the other probes for him.
Right?
Like that one was away from the probes and it was like, hey guys, where are you running to? And he brought the what am I over?
I hate to take it to Overwatch, but it reminds me of every time someone's Tracer sticks somebody, you watch them jump into the group, and you're like the healer. You're like, no, just stay away and die on your own. Don't bring this to the rest of the party.
Yeah, exactly. This is a sizable Terran force, so while the initial attack did not go so well, Billy really was able to push it back quite handily. NaTuRal still has an okay-ish army supply. With the Adepts not coming in, though, and upgrades about to be even, I think they're being chrono boosted. Yeah, both are being chrono boosted. Billowy will probably take fights, unless NaTuRal can get either good Widowmine shots or transfer over to Liberators soon. It is important to note, by the way, that Billowy with the double forge is not going for like those fast Colossus like last game. He's playing a different style, with a more scene style, which is Mass Gateway with a couple of Immortals. And that's something that, you know, the response is going to be Liberators eventually. The Gateway army with Adepts and upgrades will get too good.
Oh, he's not going to catch that medevac,
he's
and
not.
the Observer will give him some nice vision on, hey, be careful.
Yeah, that's too bad. I just have a supply depot over here. Seems like a lot more of the up-and-coming Koreans, because we also need to do that in the first map.
Well, actually, this was a trick I think we saw a lot out of everybody at the end of Heart of the Swarm, but then we just didn't see anyone do it for almost all of Legacy.
It's something that only a certain amount of people will remember even really exists. And it seems to be these,
Oh, what am I?
not quite finalists.
Oh,
Did you get
almost
it?
got the sentries.
Okay.
It doesn't matter, you looked away, you're fine.
Well, it's got the sentries. I didn't even realize he had sentries in his army, to be honest. I thought they were all adepts. But a couple of force fields, Guardian, Shield, can be very, very helpful. And that would have been a nice hit from the Widow Mines, but that's, I mean, he should not have been hit by them, which is why I looked away to see what I was upping over here. Nothing, though. They both disengaged from each other, and it is staying at this pretty even army supply with pretty even base expansions. You know, fourth base almost on here. NaTuRal should be thinking about his own fourth soon enough. Once he can get the Smasher down.
Just a small philosophy side note. Actually, our army fight in the middle of the map. Gonna be back the way the force field scatter him a little bit too much. So NaTuRal doesn't want to dedicate this. He can certainly take that army on like a big head-on engagement, but as we see, not quite the case. But I was gonna say, just it's interesting to see the choices players will make given a lot of these situations. And I don't know, small things like the depot really just tell me NaTuRal. He's thinking about it. He knows that there's a drop that'll come by at some point. He wants to be able to see that. And it's a lot cheaper than a sensor tower. And you'll need a depot anyways for supply.
Oh. Sorry.
I think, oh, go on.
The upgrades here are quite bad for NaTuRal, in fact. I mean, I didn't think his army was that late, but there has been Chrono Boost consistently on Billowy's 2-2. So his ground army really is better, and that's where Liberators really have to get a good position. And they are trying to. These aren't sieged up, though. He's going to take the fight. Widowmine's okay. Decent shots, but there's more. Oh, these Widowmines. Ooh, very careful.
This happened last game, and he does it again, where it's almost like these Widowmines are just I don't know. Billowy's just suddenly forgot how to do it. He's like, no one else has been using these. Like, what the fuck are Widow Mines? Like, he's just getting these really good hits.
Yeah. Well, the idea generally is that there's a lot of Widow Mines. This is a very odd little reinforcement task force. If there are a lot of Widow Mines, oh, Adept's finally gotten the base. Then you can shade on top of the army and use the splash against their army and kind of even things out in terms of your Adepts die versus Marines and Marauders get damaged. Yeah. But as you were talking about, NaTuRal's been retreating into them so that the Adept shade goes through and then he leaves, and then the Adepts are the ones that just purely get the attack on them. So yeah, it's been pretty nice.
Plus, they've been covering against some of these back attacks. Obviously, they aren't going to stop those Stalkers there, but as we see, they're still going to get shots off. And
in fact,
if that had an army with it, those would have been fantastic.
Yeah. In fact, one more shot on these guys would have killed a lot of them. A tiny bit of a drop over here gets some revenge for what was a very big attack over here. Fourth base was established. I've been waiting for that for a while, but finally gets down location, turning into a planetary. Drab actually goes to the main base. You know, that Dark Shrine has been done for a while, I want to say. I remember seeing it on the production tab. I guess he didn't really use it for this harassment, but uses it defensively instead. Blink Stalkers clean up the medevac over here. These still trying to go strong, but the main attack's happening from Billowy, and I don't know. Well, how many Liberators are there? There's only 4. This might be fine for Billowy. Upgrades will be even, so that's a little unfortunate timing-wise, but maybe the army supplies will just be too good for Billowy here. Blinks underneath. That's a lot of Widow Mine damage on his Stalkers, but still not enough to stop the Liberators from dying. This will turn into a base race, I think, at best case scenario for NaTuRal, but I don't think he can win one.
Yeah, Command Center should go down. Stalkers don't even need to focus it. A couple more shots go off. Widow Mine's going to come down, but losing that third base was more than enough damage as is. And while the upgrades didn't play that big of a difference right here now in this game, the army supply numbers certainly do. Widow Mines might even that up. No, okay, only one gets a shot off. If 2 Widow Mines had gone off, all the Adepts would have been gone. This could have been turned around, but still, that third base going down may have just been a little too much damage no matter how this plays out.
Yeah. Those Widow Mines have been, like, almost the saviors of every single fight for NaTuRal. More Liberals on the way. I mean, if he could have killed all those Adepts, maybe he can chase the Stalkers, kill the Immortals, and he can get his main command center over to his third and get some mining back. And that's exactly what's kind of happening here. When the Adepts go down, Bio is better than Blink Stalkers, and the Immortals, they target fire, they can go down very quickly.
Yeah, but you know what's better than Bio in a lot of situations?
Adepts.
Oh, Colossus. Adepts
I was gonna say maybe Colossus.
I was gonna say Adepts work too is an answer. Congratulations. Yeah. You found the secret B answer.
And that's why he's warping in Adepts here. That's the thing that's gonna end the game more than Colossus, although Colossus could probably make its way over. Billowy has a lot of control over this game. I don't know if breaking down the rocks helps, to be honest. If they're force fields, okay, there's gonna be sentries.
There has been consistently force field, so I mean it's not a bad thing to do while you're too scared to find the army anyways. I love that he is trying to take a fight around the planetary. It's a huge benefit to have that big gun getting some splash damage in, but as we can see, it's still not going to quite be enough. Still down an army supply, and let's not forget that while this goes on, the longer this takes, Billowy's got 3-3 on the way.
So many SCVs going down.
Yeah, 57 in total, 18 left
so
on the map.
Well timed out that the counter's still going too. Almost all of the SCVs are going to be in that counter.
It's a combo is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Alright, GG. Billowy does take game number 2 with mostly gateway units. And we'll be going into map number 3, which will be NaTuRal's map choice. Before that, we'll take a quick 2-minute break. See you guys soon. Oh, and thanks to... Where'd the event list go? Oh, there you go. Nope. No, where'd it go? It broke.
Pig. Thank you, Pig, for the format resub.
I wanted the months, but yeah, thanks, Pig, for the resub. Okay, see you guys in 2. Welcome back. We're getting into Frozen Temple. Ended up being NaTuRal's map choice.
Yeah, I had to do double take and just double check the maps to be safe, because of course we had that one small potential hiccup earlier, but nope, getting into Game 3, we're safe and sound. Things are tied up 1-1, and welcome back to the Olimoleague, folks. Quick reminder that the Olimoleague is officially partnered with Twitch Korea, but that doesn't mean that the Patreon has closed. There's still cool rewards you can get and great ways to support the tournament by checking out patreon.com/Olimoleague. And of course, I think Olimoleague's lurking in chat. She's monitoring the Korean stream too, but if you see her in chat, give her a hello. And if you have any questions about the Patreon, what sort of rewards you can get and things to look forward to, she's definitely someone to ask the questions to. That being said, spawning on the bottom right side of Frozen Temple in this ace match, it is going to be the blue Terran player, the up-and-coming NaTuRal.
In the top left, as the red Protoss, he is Billowy.
So game 2 for Billowy wasn't nearly as, and I hesitate to say bad here, but it wasn't nearly as like one-sided, I guess, but it's something where I did like that there was a fight. I liked that there was potential for back and forth, but man, game 1 was just disappointing and surprising to see that as late as it went, it became so one-sided. I would love to see this go a little bit back and forth. I would love to see this not just be a quick victory for somebody, no matter who you're cheering for, whether it's Protoss or Terran. But I still think gut tells me after watching that last game, especially with proxies coming into play, Billowy's got a decent shot.
And Probe, of course, will scout something if he is going on. You know, there's not going to be command center on the low grounds. The timing for the gas should be checked and how much gas has been taken out to know that there's something else. And the barracks just a little bit late.
Yeah, I wonder if there's something to read off this. I mean, let's be perfectly clear about how this works, guys. Like, Terran proxies have really weird dynamics when it comes to this matchup. You watch it versus Zerg, and they obliterate like 15 drones. You're like laughing your way to the bank as they just kind of slowly bleed out. Versus Protoss, it's more like you kill 4 workers, and the question is, what can you do as the quick follow-up?
The fact that it's going to be just mass Reaper is probably what Billowy... Like, Billowy knows something's going on, but... 2 racks Reaper versus Protoss is a little, like, odd. 1 proxy racks Reaper is not. And 3 Reapers at a time is going to be even weirder for Billowy to kind of try and... Oh, no, it's actually not 3 racks Reaper. So, a single proxy Reaper.
I don't know how I feel about the Stalker choice as a response to this, by the way. Like, it's actually... Obviously not going to be as effective as an Adept at killing, but it will survive perhaps a little bit better, maybe?
Well, I think he just was going for more range and microbility.
That's true, yeah.
Because the Adept does have that stupidly long, like, attack time, when it has to wind itself right up, and can't actually chase unless the Adept shades. But this has been a very interesting build, so I thought it was going to be something kind of a little bit trolly, like 3 Reapers, then they turn to 6, then they turn to 9, and you just can't keep up, and Fortune Overture is going to be used so often. But it was just like a single proxy racks, but with a little bit more production back at home. And,
I wonder if this
CC.
I wonder if this was done with the intention of hoping to bait out an overreaction out of Billowy. Like, okay,
Maybe,
you put the
yeah.
extra barracks down, it looks a little bit silly, but if you only really truly invest in the 1 Reaper and then still build like normal at home, then you hope that he's all-inning you and you just play defensive off of that.
That's true. Like, for instance, I was really surprised that Billowy, seeing what he saw, didn't go for a Zealot, for instance, which you never really want to do, but, you know, worst case scenario, you have something that takes up the Reaper shots.
Yeah, something's better than nothing.
But he didn't. He actually reacted very calmly, despite the scouts. And maybe this is not so uncommon in daily ladder grinds, that he knew it wasn't to be taken super seriously. You know, less about, I guess, how weird this was and how much damage did it do. It's done decent amounts. 5 probes for a proxy Reaper is pretty good. I think 4 is what you would really hope to get, and 5 is a little bit more. But it is a little thrown off because the command center is a little bit later than it could have been, and same with attack. I don't know, he's following this up with tank, and maybe a tank push. He does have a lot of Marines on the front here. Trying to catch stalkers would be great, but Billy's not going to take that bait. Not going to one off.
This didn't even bait out too much of an overreaction either. Like, this was... I really... Like, again, I'm theorizing here, right? I have no idea what the intention of this build was, and maybe he just got caught with his pants down, and that's why he swapped out a bit awkwardly. But this follow-up push has so much army supply in it, and had Billowy actually overreacted, that may have been a better solution. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. It is a lot of Marines. 16, a tank, a medevac. This is some serious... Like, if Billowy stops paying attention for even 1 second, it could cost him a lot.
Mm-hmm. This is, yeah, the stalkers should be up here getting the scout off. They should be being paid attention to, and they are. Cannot lose those. We'll take up the damage from the tank. An Immortal is on the way, and this mothership has quite a few overcharges. So while this one is going to go down very quickly, not too useful, this one at least survives for now. So the tank has to come back into play. And I think Billowy, taking this calmly, should be able to break out of this. This has been a pretty common type of attack, shall we say, for a couple months now. And a lot of Protoss are getting pretty good against it. Oh, and they lose the Mothership Core. Oh, God. Okay. Well, now he's a little bit desperate. That wasn't supposed to happen. Oh, the probes are being pulled. The Immortal's not even helping. Oh god, Billowy. Billowy, no. Billowy, oh no.
Billowy.
No. Well,
Billowy.
he might be able to clean up the army, but yeah, at the expense of all of his probes, the NaTuRal, so still better for NaTuRal.
Yeah, his worker count is half that of his opponent's now. That's not a great spot to be in.
That caster curse, though. Prospero, you know, they're calm against this, they're fine, and then everything just, like, seriously tumbled down. I mean, because that is the thing, you just buy time, you build more pylons so they can't quite push in as aggressively as NaTuRal is supposed to do, and then you eventually attack. And yeah, you do pull the probes, but, you know, you lose 8 probes, not 20.
I do want to point out, the Immortal lived. There's a little bit of potential for damage here. Unlikely that, you know, there's a bunker coming down, there's going to be a couple of tanks shuffled around. Billowy, I can understand the urge and necessity to fight here. He's actually going to blink up to the high ground, get around some of these tanks, which wouldn't be too bad, but there's so many tanks out now for NaTuRal. And 3 sounds a bit hyperbolic to say so many, but when I say so many, he's got all of his blind spots covered. Even down here to the south, if they blink up, tanks are pretty much in range to get those shots off.
Yeah, and plus there's medevac drops, so...
Yeah, shuffle them around. I love using the Immortals on the low ground to just try and get some shots off. Obviously, they have no way to get up to the high ground, but gonna walk away from this.
Yeah. Fortunately, no Marauders slow quite yet, but the shields are down, so able to get it. That was some pretty cool force fields. Actually targets the medevac.
Those are actually really good force fields because of the lack of medevacs.
Yeah, no, the Marauders would not have been able to be picked up, but the Marauders still got some decent damage done, and it is NaTuRal's... He's buying time here. He's going to have this still pretty good army once he does push Billowy back, and Billowy's just trying to recover still from that probe damage.
Yeah, he's just probing. There's nothing else on the production tab.
2 sentries and an Immortal. That's weird. Well, the Immortal we have taken out of the tank. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
It's going to go down somehow. Stalkers do break the fronts.
If the sentries had been dropped as a force for the same the warpers, that would have been really cool, but I think that's too much micro to ask.
I think he tried, you know, he put on the sentries, but the warper doesn't die. I think he had Marines back here, but he was too busy with the Stalkers, so that was least well done, although they did lose a good chunk of them.
This is something where I really expected this to be over. I mean, it should still be NaTuRal's favor, right? His worker count's fine, Billowy's finally caught back up, but the +1 weapons, the army supply, everything here still screams NaTuRal.
Good job, SCV. Yeah, it does.
He sees it. He sees that he can't do anything about it, too.
Yeah. I think Billowy was just hoping to go for, like, a follow-up all-in that, you know, maybe NaTuRal was expecting a 3rd base, that he'd be really surprised by 6 gateways, Resident Enclaves, more mortals, but there's been a Marine scouting this entire time, both bases, in fact, like, just in case, I guess, and Billowy's not going to have to use this gateway production for just defense, and that's not really what he would want. I mean, he's running out of minerals, actually. It's around 9 minutes Legacy of the Void. He should have a 3rd base by now, in a regular game, and now he's going to be, for sure, not getting it with this army on the front.
By the way, small bracket update. Byun, not so surprisingly, took a 2-0 over Keen, going to the semifinals.
GG!
This, though, is a little bit more surprising. Congratulations to NaTuRal.
Yeah.
Now, oh my god, we got the potential for such a sick double set of semifinals. On one side of the bracket, you got Byun versus what is potentially Armani. You've got what is now NaTuRal versus what is potentially Symbol. 2 really sick TVZs.
Yeah. Well, those semifinals should be starting soon.
We have to wait for the Korean stream, I think, right? And they
just that's right.
That set.
Symbol versus Armani started on the Korean stream. So that's a ZVZ. And yeah, you're right. So they usually take like 10 minutes, I think, before they even start the semifinals. So I guess we'll be back to update you after our commercial break, but...
Yeah, we'll go to commercial break, we'll confirm with Olimoleague, we'll see what's going on. I mean, worst case scenario, you guys gotta wait like 10-15 minutes and we'll hop into like game 2 or game 3 of that one that we're missing out on. Yeah. And they'll ride everything to the semifinals. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot more Olimoleague where that came from. And of course, reminder just to check out the Patreon, patreon.com/Olimoleague.